Welcome to the Tropical Takeover Show with yours truly, DJ Anarchy. And you already know, man, this is the show where I feature all the hottest artists from all around the globe. And joining me today, I got a very, very special artist, man, from my home country, Trinidad and Tobago. Yo, I think in my books, man, personally, one of the most talented artists in the Caribbean. Goes by the name of none other than Jimmy October. What's up, fam?
Yo. What's the vibes, bro? Thanks for having me. First of all, pleasure to be here. And also link, Trini in the world, the vibes. What's good? How you going? You good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm good, man. And Jimmy, I'm really, really excited for this interview. I might actually be more excited than you for this interview, right? Because anywhere I go, I keep telling everyone, yo, Trinidad and Tobago has international Grammy Award winning talent, outside of soca music and everything. Big up to soca music every time,
for sure.
That's the thing, But I keep telling them, like, yo, we have Grammy Award winning talent out there, So now I finally get the chance to highlight, someone like yourself who's actually in that lane, making those international moves and everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, bro, for sure, definitely, and I agree. I think there's so much different talent in Trinidad through music, through art, through different mediums, and I do feel like it's not bound by anything, and it's important for the world to see that, and for us to do our part to show that to the world at the same time. So thanks for having me. A pleasure to be here.
If someone asks who is Jimmy October, who would you tell them? Who is Jimmy October?
I think, who is Jimmy October? That's an interesting question. I think I'm definitely an artist at heart, like full an artist in its truest form. Somebody that creates things that he wants to move through the world. Somebody that creates things that he wants to see exist in the world at the same time. And I think that creatively, I try to allow different sides of myself to marry, to create to create what people view and see as Jimmy October. Musically, the entire vibrance of, the things that surround me creatively, whether it be the way I dress, my artwork, the way I sound, the things that I'm trying to fuse together. Just fashioning in that energy, So yeah, I think Jimmy October is an experience, a creative experience.
Yes, sir. And I totally agree too. And you just mentioned, you love fusing stuff together and the fusion of music and everything, right? So how would you describe your musical style?
My musical style, I would say that my musical style is definitely new Caribbean, future Caribbean. I am taking elements of things that are rooted in our culture, calypso, soca, and I'm fusing those things with other sounds that inspire me. So I'm fusing it with dancehall, I'm fusing it with Afro beats, I'm fusing it with R&B and hip hop. I grew up in the 2000s, like the early 2000s. So there's so much about urban culture, that MTV 106 and Park thing that I was tapped into at the same time while looking at Tree Canal and Raw Shorty on TV6 back in Trinidad as a youth. So those are the eras and moments that make me the artist that I am. So I can't block out either of them. It's all floating through, and I am all trying to, give thanks to and praise to so much that have come before us, and also creating space and room to show that this generation is able to take those things and move them forward at the same time. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, very, 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 very good answer. And I could actually see it, from by your fashion, from your hat. You have one, it says Kaiso. You know what I mean? So Jimmy, for anyone who's listening right now who may not know what is calypso music or what is soca music, and also Kaiso, on your hat, could you explain to them, what it is?
First and foremost, calypso in general, and I was explaining this recently to a friend, is that because they were talking about me calling like my sound new calypso, and the explanation of it basically to me is that calypso is the root of all music Trinidadian, right? It's the root. Calypso Kaiso is it's the mother and father of soca music. And I think the way that I look at it is that everything that happened between the creation of calypso and when that was like so like we had calypso records signed to RCA Records, and like you had Harry Belafonte naming an album Calypso, coming to Trinidad, working with Calypsonians. You had all those things taking place. The way that I view it, all music that is occurring now is an extension of what Calypso is. It's an extension of the sound. It's an extension of the root of our culture. Soca came from that. I would say, to be honest, Trinidad came from that too, because there's so much storytelling elements. Obviously, the cadence and delivery is different because it is somewhat connected to dancehall music as well. And we could probably even say trap, because the snare, the drum pattern feels a lot like that. But at the same time, it's coming from here. You know what I mean? It's coming from home. It's coming from Trinidad. So I always like to say that the reality is that for me, my connection to culture starts at Calypso. And Calypso is the mother and father of the things that I create. Whether I add different sprinkles to it or not, I believe that that's the truth in it. You know what I mean? So when you hear me, when you hear a song like Rum and Calypso and you hear the beat, you're like, oh, all right. There's something in there that is so Trini. It's in me. I can't get rid of it. It's there. You know what I mean? When I have a song called Remember the Days I put a couple of years ago, it starts with horns, but you just don't really expect that because it's not a soca song. So it's kind of like, oh, where he gonna go with this? But I find joy in working with producers as well, trying to create those things that are a little bit different, and it may be even polarizing, to be honest with you, because you either like it so much or you question it because you're not sure what it is. But the base of everything in the way that I view it is Calypso, it is Kaiso. Soca obviously, came after that, and now there's so much other things that are coming. I remember there was an era, and I mean, I don't want to say an era as if it passed, because it could continue as long as it could be something again. But there was an era where there was something called trap soul in Trinidad, which was Mark Hardy and Young Rod, and they were just to show, like, they were taking hip hop and rap and trap, and they were adding, let's say, like rap so elements to it, because they're like, it's rap. They were adding EDM elements to it as well, you know what I mean? And I remember I've lived through that time as well, where I'm like, oh wow, there's so much you could take from this thing and do so much with it. And that's the beautiful thing about the root of our music. You know what I mean? So yeah, big up Calypso one time.
Yeah. Yeah, so big up Mark Hardy, aka Brave Boy too, you know what I mean? And also big up to Kes too, Magic was also another one too, another feel-good tropical
Exactly.
vibe, you know?
Yeah, bless bro, thanks man.
Yeah, man. And Jimmy, on the topic of, our Trinidad music and culture being highlighted and signed, being recognized internationally, you're definitely, one of the ones who has been, doing your thing, traveling, and definitely, putting that international spotlight on Trinidad and Tobago and, the music industry and everything, Also, I definitely want to talk about, the Steve Aoki shout out, from Steve Aoki shouting you out, to him working with you and everything, man. How did all that happen?
Yo, it's so crazy. It's wild that I think that's probably like 10 years. It's not 10 years. That's definitely more than 5 years ago now, right? But it just happens. Like it just happens. I was actually, I remember I was working with a group that Steve was working with, a group of producers at the time. And I remember getting a call or getting a message. And one of the producers was like, "Yo, we're actually in a studio right now with Steve Aoki, and we just played some of your songs." And he was just like, "Yo, who is that voice?" And he was like, "Who is that? I want to make a song with that person." And I was like, "What?" So I was like, "All right, cool." I got an email, his number. Somebody sent his number. I just saved it, and they were like, expect a call from him. So I screenshot the message. He just texted me a day and he's like, "Yo, this is Steve Aoki. Let's make some tracks." And I'm like, "What?" Like, I mean, again, it's all happening. I was younger. I was just like, what is like taking place here? I know Steve Aoki because of his like in a big way, like in a fun way, because he'd made some music with Kid Cudi, and I'm a big I'm a big fan of Kid Cudi. So I remember that being like, am I gonna now make a song with somebody who's made a song with Kid Cudi? It was happening. So I remember that being like such a big highlight for me. And we made this song. He came to Trinidad. He messaged me. He was like, "Yo, I'm at the hotel." He came to perform at Life in Color. He was like, "I'm at the hotel. You know what I mean? Tell them bring you to the top floor." We are literally in his room, like just catching vibes, playing this song because he was like, "We definitely gonna play. We're gonna perform it tonight." That wasn't even the plan, and he was like, "We're gonna perform it tonight." And like, I was just like lit up, bro. Like lit, being a part of that, that was definitely one of those experiences for me that opened my eyes, as well as just seeing that different things are possible in the landscape, and you don't always have to take the route of everybody else, which is something that you don't know as a youth because you're only seeing what you're seeing. So being able to get an experience like that so young in my life, perform with him, be on an album, have a song on his album with some of my favorite rappers like Wale, and like I'm like, how is this even happening to like this youth man from Sangre Grande who, what I mean? It's like it's almost not like written that way most of the time. I mean, so that's like definitely, I mean, and I give thanks to God all the time for blessings, but that was one of those ones where you were like I needed something like this to even remind me to keep going. You know what I mean? So that was dope, bro.
Yes, sir. And here you are, 10 or 8 years still, in the future. Here you still doing your thing, still going, still touring and everything. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, let's talk about I saw you were recently on tour with Nigerian superstar Ruga.
Yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean? Yeah, so let's definitely tell me about that, man. How was that experience?
So that was my first. So I was on tour. I've done 2 tours with Kes. So I was on tour with Kes before that. So that was my first like actual like US run. And then getting the call that we were doing the Ruga, I was like, wow. I actually I don't even know how, like I can't even believe that actually happened, right? You know what I mean? But that was definitely again another one of those things, a learning point for me too, where it's like, cool. I'm just like soaking up as much as I could. Being able to connect with him, to talk about music, to talk about, what I mean, what we do, how we doing this, how we got to where he's at, and soak up all of that energy too is definitely like that's something that's going down in like my books of like top things that I've done so far for sure. And I think it's also important to me to connect like those dots, right? Like Afro with what we do, because it's very similar. The energy is very similar. There's a root of it, you know what I mean, of our cultures that connect. And I feel like being able to be in that space gave me like some motivation. It also taught me more about performance, seeing him perform. You know what I mean? There's like Ruga has like this confidence and this energy. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me take some notes. You know what I mean? He's with the crowd. You know what I mean? He's in his own world when he's in his own world. And I feel like seeing that definitely helped me, being able to take my music, new music, and translate it to like full rooms as well. introduce people to who I am, to my music, introduce them to, you know what I mean, the sound of our country too, you know what I mean, and why I make the things that I make. It's like, you end up in places where, like, I listen to Ruga, you know what I mean? So when you end up in places with people that you listen to and you're a fan of, you are like, okay, cool, thank you. I'm entering the room. I belong in this room. You know what I mean? The universe and the higher being brought me into this room because this is my time to be in this room. You know what I mean? And I have to show up. You know what I mean? I have to give energy to these people now, and that's what I did. We did, I think it was like 9 or 10 cities, just on the road. You know what I mean? My manager, there was a point in time one of my managers was driving us around. You know what I mean? It's like, because that's just what, you know what I mean? That's how we have to do it. We have to show up and we have to give the best that we could give and try to spread as much as we could. And that was a crazy year because I did Germany that year too, which was like, bro, being able to, and I mean, I'm saying this like in a real way, is like a real blessing to be able to travel, to make music, and to live through this gift that is given to you. It's not something to be taken for granted at all, you know what I mean? And that's like a blessing to be able to get those experiences that help you grow as an artist, that help me build, that actually inspire me to want to make more and different music too. Yeah, bro, it's like it's a blessing. All praise to the Most High, bro. Like really.
Facts. All praise to the Most High. You know, and speaking about blessing, man. You know, you are now signed by Ineffable Records.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
definitely, you know, a record label in our space. You know, doing great things for the culture, both locally and internationally. You know, so big up Ineffable. So tell me, man, how did the whole Ineffable Connect happen, and how did you get signed and everything, and how long have you been with them?
I mean, I have been interacting to some extent with them before, and also my management. They've worked with them before, so I think it was pretty simple. We had a meeting. We had obviously an initial meeting, you know what I mean? And I feel like I was just sending music. We were kind of bouncing off, giving them an idea of what the stuff that I was working on, was sounding like. I mean, because some of these stuff would have been like sounded different, the things that I would have worked on before too. And yeah, we were just like, yo, do we want to do this? Do we want to get some work together? Do we want to try to take this music? Again, the goal is taking this music to all the ears that are welcome in this music. You know what I mean? We are trying to open up the audience. We are trying to reach as many people as possible. We are trying to show people that it's very important to me as a Trinidadian to show people that the music coming from the Caribbean is important in the world space. We don't just make one thing, we make so many things, and we are able to stand up in market and showcase who we are and what we are. And I feel like that is a lot of the work that Ineffable is doing, outside of not just me, but with other artists as well, because they're doing work with Kes, they're doing work with Vaughn, they're doing stuff. And I feel like that's where that alignment is, because that is the goal. I am trying to get as much people to hear who I am and to see my vision and understand who I am as an artist, but also to understand what we all have to offer in general. I mean, not to act like, that's like I'm here to save the day in that way, but I do think it's important to make sure and insert the fact that there's so much that could come from, there's so much coming from Trinidad, there's so much coming from Jamaica, there's so much coming from Barbados, there's things coming from other islands, big up all the islands, same way, you know what I mean? And we are here to do that work and to show people as much as possible. And that's where, the alignment with Ineffable comes. So definitely, I haven't really said this yet, but I am working on a project. And Rum and Calypso is a part of the project. Some of the songs that are out already, the new song Sweet Love is a part of the project. And we are wrapping up. So it's gonna be available and ready soon to give to the world. So yeah, man.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about this project.
Yeah. And I
You
can't
are
tell you
you
the
are you are you are you actually allowed to, or is it still?
I think so. I do think I could talk about it in some regard. I'm working on a collection of songs that are basically pretty much this is the next step of my sound. And I put all of these songs together particularly to show how I am able to blend and fuse sounds. You know what I mean? How am I able to maintain who I am as a Caribbean man, who I am as a Caribbean artist, but also show where I think we can go sonically and where we could keep pushing the bar and pushing the boundaries to go sonically. And I feel like I have been able to do that, and I'm glad that I've been able to put like a body of work together because I haven't put a body of work together in a couple of years. The Vacation EP was the last project that I put out. Everything else was just singles. And I want to share that experience with people. It's centered around the concept of love, but not just romantic love. Healing is on there because healing is like is songs like that are me interacting with love in a different way, love for life. You know what I mean? So I touched on a few different elements and pieces of love on this project that I would like to share with people. So yeah, definitely. I do intend on sharing more with people soon in terms of how that's gonna exist in the space and how they are gonna be able to interact with what the project is and listen to it. So yeah, definitely. I'm excited about that. So for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm definitely gonna be excited too, and definitely gonna be on the lookout for
More
it too.
tunes to
And
spin.
you don't know, you know what I mean? You don't know as you seen. So Jimmy, talking about sharing experiences and everything. Let's take it back to Trinidad for 1 second, right?
Yeah,
I want you to share like your experience growing up in Sandy Grande, for all our international listeners, because me
yeah,
personally, this is something new that I'm actually learning about you, right? Because I
yeah,
actually thought you were from Port of Spain, in the uptown,
yeah.
because I always see you,
Ah, gee.
around in the area. Now, me myself, I'm a country boy too. I'm from Maruga.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
I'm from Maruga, bro. Born on, I'm in from the south side. So again, is that's what I'm telling you, bro. I'm really excited, because
Yeah,
I'm learning so much about you, and you being a fellow countryman yourself and
yeah.
everything. So
Yeah.
share for me, man. How was the experience growing up in Sandy Grande and you getting into music and everything?
I love the fact that I grew up in Sangre Grande because I think it has a lot to do with who I am as a person, bro. I'm sure you can relate. Like being from the country is different to the things that are important to you, even as a youth, is completely different to a lot of people who probably, grew up seeing seeing these different things. So my my escape and my actual like I was so engulfed in music from a young age. I was very wrapped up in music from for as long as I could know as long as I know myself, to be honest. Um, I was just telling one of my managers today, I was showing that because there's like this old video that I found. I would literally sit in like my mother's room and make beats, like try to make beats and try to write songs. And like me and Nick Soul, I grew up making music with him as well. And yeah, we would be right there just kind of digging up, trying to figure things out. It probably, whether it's horrible or not, right? It's like those early stages are the beginning and creation of who you are 10 years down the line. Without them, you don't become this full picture or even half of the picture. And I do think because of me being around music so much, music was playing in my house all day, like every day. Bob Marley, Lauryn Hill, Buju Banton, Bounty Killer, Usher, Prince, Michael Jackson, you name it, are very, and I also think that this has to do with why I like piecing genres together, because I love so much music entirely that I can't it's not just one thing, it's about that entire experience. I grew up with like singing with my mom so much different types of music. So for me, when I started like really falling in love with music, I do think one of the particular points, and I mean, I'll talk about the new song "Sweet Love" as well, because one of the because I grew up in the early 2000s, that Beanie Man era, like when Beanie Man was making songs with Neptunes, like him and Pharrell, and then when Sean Paul was doing, I don't really care, like those particular points, I remember clearly because seeing Elephant Man and Kip Rich on 106 on Park and like that kind of thing, I was like, oh, this is Caribbean. This is in this space. This exists in a particular way. I want to do that. I want to figure out how to be like that. And I started getting deeper and deeper into music. And I would say two songs in particular that are that are nostalgic and feel like nostalgic love for me on the project is Rum and Calypso and my new song, Sweet Love. The bounce, those little ambient sounds, even in the beat and the guitar runs and that kind of thing, it takes me right back. Like and a lot of the music that I made in this time slot and time period feels so much like that because I have a very deep love for that period. It reminds me of Grandy. It reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of falling in love with music and being like, oh wow, I could make this out of thin air. You know what I mean? And also seeing people in a Caribbean space exist like that for the world to see, it's possible. We could do it. You know what I mean? It could happen. And I feel like, yeah, I also enjoy just that kind of slow living. You know what I mean? There's so much fast pace even now in my, there might be so much fast pace in my career and this element of my life. When it's time to slow that down, like Randy is the perfect place, bro. Being home with my mother, my brother, my friends, people I grew up with, my neighbor. I'm just walking barefoot in the street. I'm taking a walk down the road all the time, going to get fruits, going to get doubles, going to the market. Like I still do that very normally. That is the base and foundation of who I am as a being. You know what I mean? So I love that.
Facts. I could totally relate.
Yeah.
Totally relate. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you, when last you been to Maruga?
Man, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while. I've been out here like I would say like 8, 9 years. Around the time when I was definitely planning on going back was when COVID hit, and that
Gotcha.
put everything on pause. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I actually came back a couple of years ago, but I didn't have time to go because I did like a whole week press run, with the news.
Yeah. That's the thing. When you hear
Yeah.
you go to, you have to do what you have to do. And Maruga is not close.
Yes, sir. You already
Maruga
know,
is not
Babs.
close, guys. It's far from the activity.
Yeah,
For
Maruga
sure.
is actually one of the last villages, down in the south, But I'm definitely coming back for the summer. So when I come back, we gonna definitely link up. So Jimmy, let's talk about the brand new single, "Sweet Love."
Yes, sir. Yes,
Tell me about
sir.
the vibe, the inspiration. How did it come about
Yeah.
and everything?
Yeah, again, I was in a session recording another song with Tano, and he played me this other beat. He played me this beat that was produced by Brooklyn Decent. But he was just like, I was like, yo, play me some stuff. Let's take a break. He was just playing me he played me like 3 beats, and this was one of them. And he just had it because Brooklyn sent it to him, for me to hear. So he played this one, and I was like, wait, hold on, I might have to lead this chorus because we'll get back to the other thing. But yeah, and I was like, and I told him, I immediately, I think I messaged Brooke. I was like, yo, keep this. Don't play this on anybody else. Like, I want this. Like, I definitely want this. I have a chorus. I want it. And I told him the same thing. It reminds me of, like that era, like Pharrell and them making girls them sugar for Beanie Man. Like it reminds me of that. Him and Maya, that version. It reminded me of that. Like they also did this song "Feel It Boy" for Beanie and Janet Jackson too. It just reminded me of that. I'm kind of like a music nerd, so I kind of know all of the who did what and when and that kind of mad vibes. So I just knew that it felt like something. I'm always searching for feeling too. I'm not really always searching for the song, but I'm searching for feeling. And if I hear something and it matches with a feeling that is in me, then the chances are I'll finish the song. So I started it. I laid the hook. I laid the first verse, and I took the song with me for like a year and a half. I just had it. I was just kind of like, all right, cool. I was thinking like, maybe I should put somebody else on it. I thinking of people that I should put on it. And then I was like, I got to a place where I was like, all right, cool. If that's not happening, let me write a second verse. And it turned out to, like, I love the second verse more than the first. So I was just like, timing. But yeah, again, it's definitely one of those summer songs. It's me existing in a space that feels Caribbean, but also feels worldly, able to be interpreted and listened to by the world. And yeah, it's actually my favorite song right now. That's like something I probably wouldn't say because it's like a shameless plug, but no, I really love the song and I love the beat. I keep asking Brooklyn about, I was like, yo, what you was doing when you made this beat? Like, I was like, let's try to do that one more time because it feels a certain way. So yeah, it's Sweet Love. It's out now on all platforms, produced by Brooklyn Decent. You know what I mean? Mixed by Brooklyn and Choppy and mastered by Precision Production. So yeah, go add that to your summer playlist for sure.
So yeah, so big up to Casey, man. Cool youth.
Yeah, for
South
sure.
man too,
Yes, sir. 100%.
So Jimmy, I know you got the new project and everything coming out, but what else could we expect from you in the future?
Yeah, definitely. New project, a body of work will be delivered to the listeners soon. There are also other collabs that I've worked on. Collabs with people from Africa. One of my brethren, he has a group in Africa. I made a song for their EP, as well as collaborating with other Jamaican artists as well. So even stuff that are not on my project, there's definitely gonna be a flow of music and collaborations throughout the year. And I mean also, yeah, I think I want to tap into and work with more, even collaborate with more artists and producers from Trinidad too, and just show what we could do together at the same time. You know what I mean? There are collabs on my project as well with people from Trinidad. And yeah, that's important, you know what I mean? Just to be able to make as much music as possible and put out more music. Like, that's what I want right now. Like, I need to put out more and more music. So that's the goal. That's the vibe. You know what I mean?
So, and also one thing you forgot to mention, and I'm going to hold you to this, I'm expecting to see you in the future. I'm expecting to see a Grammy from
Bro,
Jimmy
come
October.
on. Come on, come on, come
I'm
on, come
personally
on.
putting that blessing on you. You know what I
Thank you,
mean?
sir. I'm receiving that with open arms. But yeah, definitely that is one of those things I want to scratch off the list, you know what I mean? And I feel as though I'll definitely say I feel like as though it's possible. I've seen, you know what I mean, big up Black Hero, you know what I mean, one of my brethren, I've seen him get nominated for a Grammy. You see like Coffee win a Grammy. You see, it's there, it's close. The sound is there. You know what I mean? It's like there's the ability to do that is not this far-fetched reality. It's possible, and I definitely think that the work that I'm gonna be putting in is gonna be equal to something like that. So I'm taking that blessing, bro, for sure. Bring a Grammy home to Trinidad.
Facts. It's something that the country definitely needs. They need a new young face, in this space to definitely, as you say, bring it back home, bring a Grammy back home, to further motivate and inspire, all the youths coming up and
Push
everything.
the
You know what I mean?
envelope, bro. Push the envelope. There's so many. Like, I just want like the kids to know that there's so many different perspectives that we could approach music. There's so many perspectives we could approach, like style, who we are. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have to be anything. You could just be you. Figure out how to do that. Tap into the best version of yourself, and you'll see how the wider world could receive that too as well. You know what I mean? And I've seen it. I've learned that even from being I think traveling taught me that too, being in Germany and being like, there's moments where I would like kind of have to pinch yourself and be like, wow, all right, like, all right, this is, I guess like that, you put in the time, you put in the work and you keep working, you don't stop, you keep working, but you know what I mean, there's rewards for that, you know what I mean, there's things and blessings that are gonna come your way for that. So for sure, man, give thanks, man.